Sup, heathens? I'm Happy Viking, and I'm here to make you awesome, one frothy pint of metal at a time. So drink up. This delicious draught is brought to you by the internet. Good old internet. Limitless repository of information, both important and trivial, vast global communications network for brothers from different motherlands, and infinite digital canvas for the creative mind. Another great thing about the internet is how it has united cynics together in their depression by bringing all the bad news together in one place. Let me tell you, life's tough, especially when you have to be constantly reminded of how other people are wasting it. Which is why it is always important to say, enough of that, let's just cut loose and have some fun. Because, come on, no one wants to have their whole day brought down because of some stupid shit that Mr. Dirt did in the Herp Dirt province of Northern Dirtopia that resulted in several deaths. No. In these harsh and pessimistic climates, what we need is to keep the spirits high, and to do that, we need fun. And what better way to escape reality than with heavy metal? Heavy metal is all about escapism, exploring new worlds, fighting new dragons, and posing majestically in front of new cosmic nebulas. And when it's not about that stuff, it's about sex and beer, which are also worthwhile endeavors. And once every couple of weeks, I do my part and showcase a new band that will take your mind off of all the bad stuff in the world, as is the will of the gods. And today, I want to talk about a band that rocks and jives with a crazy vibe, a band in our midst with a refreshing twist. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Diablo Swing Orchestra! Diablo Swing Orchestra is a swanky swarm of Swedish swingers that dominate any stage they step foot on and infect their crowds with pep, power, and pluck. DSO, as you can call them for short, plays an unlikely blend of genres. They mix the might and magnanimity of metal with the groove and attitude of ballroom swing into a little something they like to call riot opera. And indeed, it is a riot. They've taken the bouncy bombast of big band and got it all spruced up and juiced up for the 21st century. They got it all. Operatic singing, killer guitars, jumpin' bass, thumpin' drums, funky trumpets, and all the brass, jazz, pizzazz, and razzmatazz you'd naturally expect. Can you dig it? Hell yes you can. You can dig it like an early grave. What else need be said? These Latin-flavored lords of luster and lightheartedness kick serious ass. The members of Diablo Swing Orchestra claim they formed the band in 2003 to honor their 16th century ancestors who together apparently had a similar orchestra. The only difference being that instead of being implicitly powered by witchcraft, they were explicitly powered by witchcraft. The original orchestra enraptured crowds, was beloved by all, and probably had some sweet pyrotechnics as well. They rocked so hard that the church branded them as satanic outlaws and put a huge bounty on their heads. However, deciding not to go quietly into the good night like a bunch of punk bitches, they instead put on the biggest final show in the history of everything ever. Legend has it that the collective hangover was so severe that everyone forgot that it happened because there's no documentation that any of this actually happened or that the orchestra itself even existed. So, yeah, maybe take it with a grain of salt and a tongue firmly in cheek. Regardless, for whatever crazy reason, there was a convergence of sweet bros with eclectic tastes in music who came together and decided to unleash their inner crazy. And in 2006, they shared it with everybody with their first full-length album, The Butcher's Ballroom. And then in 2009, they put out their second release, Sing-Along Songs for the Damned and Delirious. This album was distributed by Ascendance Records, an offshoot of UK indie label Candlelight, which specialized in female-fronted metal. When they closed up shop, DSO migrated over to Candlelight itself and put out Pandora's Pinata in 2012. So there you have it, 3 thrilling anthologies of throwing up the horns and throwing down the gauntlet, with the challenge being to survive the broken neck inevitably obtained from the sheer amount of headbanging you will do. Nope, wait, actually, I take that back. This music deserves more than mere headbanging. You gotta dance to this music. DSO demands that you bang with more than just your head. You gotta put your whole body into it. Makes for a more pleasurable experience, you see. That's another big thing about Diablo Swing Orchestra. They want to make you dance like you got ants in your pants. Big ants, with poison pincers and shit. And it's nearly impossible not to move to these grooves. Once DSO starts doing their swing thing, it's like they're driving a boogie-woogie choo-choo train straight up your ass. And when you got 400 tons of blithe and lively locomotive in your butt, you got no choice but to get up and get down like the sickness. Case in point. Dance, monkey, dance. Good gravy, these guys must have the swankiest mosh pits in town. See, at least there, when people are getting their ribs broken, they're doing it with class. You know, formal dress, nice hats, pinkies extended, whole 9 yards. And this is a classy band, have no doubt. Far as I know, they're the only metal band that have a full-time cellist, trumpeter, and tromboner. I'm sorry, Daniel Hadeen, you must hate that joke by now. But yeah, with a band set up like that, almost makes Apocalyptica look blasé. It also helps in the class department that they have a full-fledged operatic soprano on board. And Luis is an awesome singer in both the modern and classical sense. That is to say, inspiring of awe because, well, fucking shit. Listen. Time to release you, safe and sound. Time to conceal you. And alongside Anne Louise at the forefront of the orchestra is guitarist Daniel Hackinson. If anyone could be considered the ringleader of this diabolical troupe, it's probably him. He handles the lion's share of the interviews and he just seems to be the most active member. Well, for a certain definition of active, because the cellist moves like a goddamn maniac. Yet, despite his headbanging, Johannes's hair remains prim and perfect. Must be that implicit witchcraft at work again. But, once again, their mission, other than being fucking classy of course, is to cut loose and have fun. Good, clean, demented fun. Because, if you haven't guessed by now from their song titles, their flavorful backstory, or even just from their instrumentation, DSO have a couple screws loose. Maybe I'm reaching here, but judging by them having song titles like Voodoo Mon Amour, A Rancid Romance, and Wedding March for a Bullet, I'm assuming they appreciate the darker side of life. They have the same kind of whimsical adoration for the odd and macabre that the goth culture does. And they do have a sizable goth following. I mean, look at the cover for sing-along songs. To the average Joe, it's extremely unnerving, but goth folks will eat it right up. Mark my words, Diablo Swing Orchestra is a gothic aphrodisiac. DSO causes so many goth panties to burn up that their albums are considered a fire hazard. If those things get within 30 feet of a hot topic, that fucker will burn to the ground. Believe me, I've done it. Diablo Swing Orchestra are indeed a bunch of nuts from a particularly deranged tree, so they might not be for everyone. But a good test to see if they're for you is a simple cursory listen of their second album, Sing-Along Songs for the Damned and Delirious. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a really good album, but I also think it's the best example of what some people might find off-putting about Diablo Swing Orchestra. First of all, you might not like the blend of swing and metal. That's fine, it's not to everyone's taste. But even if you can dig it, there is such a thing as too much. Sing-along songs is DSO at its most chaotic and unhinged. It's basically like the soundtrack to Tim Burton's Brain after pulling a severely caffeinated all-nighter, for better and for worse. See what I mean? It's a little overkill, and it's kind of hard to dance over all that demented madness going on. Granted, the quintessential DSO groove is still there, it's just a little buried. But such occurrences are pretty infrequent, and the follow-up album Pandora's Pinata is a lot more level, polished, and sane. Well, for a given value of sane, anyway. But, hell, if you love sing-along songs just fine, then, well, shit, you're sitting pretty. But even if swing ain't really your thing, you still gotta respect Diablo Swing Orchestra's drive in creating original-sounding music with tons of energy that's tons of fun. Like a vaguely gothic and demented 16th century Andrew WK, Diablo Swing Orchestra just plain lives to entertain. With vim, vigor, piss, and vinegar, they'll make you shake your butt, raise your fist, and dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. Now who doesn't like the sound of that? Losers, that's who. Losers and freedom-hating communists! Bottom line is, Diablo Swing Orchestra is a macabre and marvelous masterpiece of metal, might, and moxie. A kick-ass calamitous cavalcade of cool and quirky cabaret. So get your pale, pasty butt on the dance floor and pledge your allegiance to the kings of swing. I'm Happy Viking, and you've just been served your recommended dosage of heavy metal. Rock on, drink responsibly, and dance the night away.